Today we're going to go over Conte's elite 2013-2014 tactics, tested on the database as well. I will say it also works in the current version of the game without a database, as to be expected. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoy the content. Let's get into it. First off, right from the bat, we are going to go right into Juventus, of course, based around that current team in 2013-2014. We've come out and nearly put on an invincible season, actually. 33 wins, only 4 draws, and the 1 loss. The Champions League went okay, got out of the groups quite convincingly. Unfortunately, PSG just about edged it in that quarter-final. However, we did win the Italian Cup in quite a convincing fashion, actually. 4-1 over Roma. Obviously, Carlos Tevez scoring 7 goals alone in this competition. Going over to the Serie A is going to be, you can see here, again, a Carlos Tevez masterclass, but more importantly, into the team stats. We're going to feature in almost everything. Most points per game, most goals at 93, most shots at 629, the fewest shots against at 186, the fewest conceded at 21, and also the most clean sheets coming in at 21 as well. We are literally doing everything to such a high level, it is absolutely ridiculous. The data hub as well is going to back us up. 2.45 goals every single game, only 0.55 conceded, over 16.5 shots every single match, an 87% pass completion, and attacker win ratio just shy of 80%. We absolutely cooked the Serie A. Of course, that cup final with a 4-1 win over Roma, where we did actually go down to 10 men as well. Got off to a decent start, to be fair, a little bit lucky with a goal. Peluso obviously does finish it off there. But then going to go down the left-hand side. Again, so many options in the box. It's one of the great things about this tactic. We always find the right man as well. Back stick header from Pepe there. Roma don't come away empty-handed, obviously. You just saw their Pjanic in his prime at Roma, as we do remember, into Destro up front. Now, I will say, it's very fun playing on this database. Let me know if you ever touched it, because it's a lot of fun to play with, as we just play Lichtsteiner in down the right-hand side into Carlos Tevez, the man who literally took over football in this save. Absolutely incredible. And that is Pirlo. You've not been mistaken. Pirlo into Asamoah. Great give and go and a great finish. We'll take it. Of course, Chelsea fans, you've got to remember Conte quite well, so I did decide to test with Chelsea as well, where we win the Premier League very convincingly. We win the Super Cup, the FA Cup, and the Capital One Cup. Again, unfortunately, it is going to be PSG who do knock us out in the Champions League, but it is still going to be a quadruple winning season. A very, very good season as well. And in that Premier League, you've got to get very good throwback vibes now. Samuel Eto'o with 29, Frank Lampard doing what he does best, coming up and getting a goal with 20 goals. Azpilicueta and Eto'o second and third in the highest average rating and picking up the most assists. Well, it is going to be arguably the best keeper in the Premier League, Petr Cech, with 17 clean sheets. Going over to the team stats again, we've got to be everywhere. Most clean sheets, fewest conceded, even the most possession at 64% of the ball with a counter-attacking 3-5-2. Not too shabby. Best pass completion as well, the fewest shots against, the most goals, and the most points per game. You can't really fault anything we're doing. And going over to the data hub, the first time I was seeing it for myself, remarkable. 2.68 goals every single game, only 0.76 conceded, over 15.1 shots every single match, and 90% pass completion, and a very good tackle win ratio. Again, done it in the Serie A, we've done it in the Prem. And the FA Cup final against bitter rivals Tottenham Hotspur, Ramirez, what a player he was, into Azpilicueta, a ball into the box, and Juan Mata, obviously before he goes to Manchester United, what a player he was for both clubs. Azpilicueta's on the right-hand side now, driving at them, into the middle, into Eto'o, who takes on everyone and stuffs it past Lloris. And lastly, one of the biggest challenges of the video, that is going to be Bari over in the Italian Serie B. Of course, he did manage there as well. They are predicted to finish in 11th place, and we have come out and, to be honest, overachieved to the next level possible. I mean, we actually nearly won it, finished in first place. We still get automatic promotion, which is absolutely remarkable, outplacing the likes of Palomero, loads of really good teams, Empoli, loads of really, really solid teams, obviously in the Italian Serie B. Now, going over to the stats, we might not feature in loads and loads, we're going to feature in, I believe it is going to be 3. So, the fewest shots against, the fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. We're not going to outscore some of the teams in this league, to be realistic, especially playing a counter-attack and style, but we were better defensively than all of the top teams, so a really good sort of display there of what this tactic actually can do. Obviously scoring just under 2 goals a game, but conceding way under a goal a game as well. So this does definitely prove as viable for smaller teams in the game. You still have got a very good pass completion, despite the player quality, and still quite a fair amount of shots per game, so that's good to see. But I will say, just because every game, it didn't say we scored 2 goals a game, you did have the odd game where you did come out and put on an absolute masterclass, and this is a great example of it. A 5-0 win, obviously, in the league, against a bit of a weak team, to be fair, but just to prove that you can go out and score score goal after goal after goal. For some reason, the graphics look really nice in this stadium, very bright. Looks really nice actually for this game. And we are going to be not afraid to go direct, play it down the right, get the ball over the top, get it in the middle, nice and simple, direct counter-attack. We're not messing about anymore, you know. Get the ball in the box and results will happen. It's as simple as that. A lovely volley there into the ground. Don't usually see that mechanic so often. Obviously, we've got this side of the tactic as well. We can play it from the back to the midfield and just drive it right through the back line. And sometimes playing this way is simpler and it's very effective. And as you can see, we actually dominated the game also. But now, of course, over to your favourite part of the video. That is going to be the tactical breakdown. If you're enjoying so far, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you love rebuilds, come and subscribe to my second channel where we are going to be posting one every 3 to 4 days. The first one went up yesterday, an Everton rebuild. People are loving it. Go over, drop some love on that channel if you like your rebuilds. But let's go in and talk about this tactic. So it is going to be a sweeper keeper, simply on the supportive instruction. A central defender comes in on almost the default, a couple of custom instructions to obviously make this free back work. So he's going to be on stay wider and also mark tighter. And that is going to be exactly the same for the left-hand sided one as well. Because these players are going to be staying wider because them complete wing-backs are going to push up the field quite high up. A ball-playing defender comes in on the cover role as well to complete that back-three partnership. A complete wing-back on the right, on support, on cross more often, cross from the byline, dribble more, and also shoot less often. And that is going to be exactly the same for the left-hand side because you don't really need to have any difference. You want both of them getting involved going forwards, and without them, you're really got to struggle to score goals. So make sure you do not filter and play around with too much of that because they work really, really well. We then go with a register actually on support, not commonly used across many tactics, but it does suit the Conte system. On dribble more and shoot less often. We then go with a central midfield player on attack, on dribble more, shoot more often, roam from position and move into channels. This player is simply very attacking. You know, he can have a crack at goal as well. He's going to dribble all around these areas and sometimes act almost as a shadow striker, advanced playmaker, push up in that area. And then we have a box-to-box on support and run wide, shoot less often, get further forwards and move into channels. And talking of support, if you do wish to support this channel and gain over 13 perks to the channel, including access to all 3 of the files today, you get early tactic release, you get the console and the mobile tactics, which obviously are going to come later in the video, so be sure to check that out as well if you are interested. You get access to the monthly giveaway of £100 at the moment, and so many more perks. It's absolutely outrageous. You can check out the Patreon like these 2,600 people have done, because honestly, the community we've got there is absolutely magical. Going up the field to the last 2 positions is going to be a target forward on supports, on more direct passes, shoot less often, roam from position, and also move into the channels. And to partner him is going to be that advanced forward on attack, on pass it shorter, and shoot more often. To the team instructions. So all based off the custom direct counter, it is going to be a positive mentality. We're going to go down to fairly narrow. We're going to pass into space. We're obviously going to overlap left and overlap right to really get them complete wing backs involved. We're going to focus to play through the middle while playing out from the back. The tempo is going to be set to slightly higher with a shorter directness. Now, we saw in the highlights it was actually quite direct, right? Now, that is because of the pass into space. So please do not take that off if you are trying to play like the Conte way in his counter-attack and style. Without that, you're not going to play anything like we did in the highlights. Run at defence. We're going to work the ball into the box, and on this occasion, mixed crosses. In transition, very simple, very effective. Roll the ball out to the centre-backs, counter-attack, and counter-press. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to rock that higher defensive line with the mid-block line of engagement. The trigger press is going to be set up to much more often. We're going to prevent short goalkeeper distribution because we have got 2 forward players up there, despite one being a target forward, and we are also going to get stuck in to the attacking variant. Very important you have this one as well in your roster, because at the end of the day, this is going to go out and get you even more goals if you are struggling to score with what can be classed as a defensive tactic. So the goalkeeper is going to be a sweeper keeper on support. The central defender on the right and the left-hand side do remain exactly the same, and Libero comes in on support as well, just to really make one of them centre-backs a bit more progressive in the midfield and get involved linking up the play. The complete wing-back on the left and on the right are now both going to be on attack, on cross more often, dribble more, shoot less often, and obviously they also gain them 4 default instructions, which is going to naturally make them stay wider and get further forwards. In the midfield is going to be a Roman playmaker on support on the default instruction. 2 central midfield players. One on the left is going to be on attack, on dribble more, shoot more often, roam from position and move into channels. And on the right hand side is another central midfield player on attack without shoot more often. Now obviously whatever midfield player you have with the better shooting goes to the left hand side. That is pretty common sense, but I will make that clear as well. Then we have an advanced forward on the right on attack, on pass it shorter, and shoot more often. And on the left, we just have a default. So again, I would say the striker you have with obviously a better shot, better finishing, have him in that position. And the other one can be more of a, not a fully supportive role, because he's obviously an advanced forward, but he will not be having as many shots as the striker partner. Team instructions, again, the counter style is going to be the same, so it's going to be the direct counter. This time it's going to be set to attacking with the mentality. We're going to pass into space, we're going to leave this in the the middle. We're going to overlap left. We're going to overlap right. We're going to focus play through the middle while playing out from the back. We're going to go with standard. The tempo we are going to up because we are trying to obviously make the tempo a little bit higher, take the game to the opposition and score some goals. Simple as that. We're still going to work the ball into the box. Now, if you are really struggling and you want to get a goal desperately, you could also go with hit early crosses and go with a more direct approach. If you haven't, scored in sort of the last 5 to 10 minutes of a game, that could be a very useful approach to take. We're going to run at defence and we're going to be more expressive. In transition, just one simple change. We're going to remain with this being exactly the same with the addition of distribute quickly, but it is basically the same as the default. But obviously, if you are trying to get a goal, you want to get the play moving pretty quick. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to go instantly with the high pressing line of engagement, the higher defensive line. We're going to go with much more often, get stuck in, and of course, prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Now, for you wonderful people to defend the game out, we are going to go with a sweeper keeper simply on the default. Central defender on the right and the left remain unchanged for every single tactic because we simply want them doing what they've been doing so well, and that is defending. The ball playing defender comes back in on cover as well to cement this back three, and both wing backs on the right and the left now are going to be very risk free. So I will say this tactic will not score that many goals, but it will be incredibly defensively solid. So do switch to this in your last sort of 10 minutes. How basically you can obviously calculate that in the game, but this will defend as a brick wall, but you will not go out and score tons and tons of goals. So I wouldn't recommend starting your whole game playing this way because you might be a little bit too negative. A DM comes in on support on the default, a default box to box, and also a central midfield player on support on take more risks, roam from position, and also move into channels. Very important you have to take more risks on this player because otherwise you're going to have basically no creativity in the midfield. A target forward on the left on support on more direct passes, shoot less often, roam from position, and move into the channels. And lastly, an advanced forward on passes shorter and shoot more often. So the team instructions. So again, all based off the counter-attacking style, as we discussed on the balanced mentality. This is going to drop again. We are still going to pass into the space. We're going to focus to play through the middle, still while playing out from the back. But we are not going to look to get them wing-backs overlapping, because obviously they are now purely there to defend. The other real big change is obviously not working the ball into the box. We are going to run at defence, but this we're going to leave as it is. So it is going to be set to standard on both of these scenarios, because we don't want to have as an intense press. And also the passing can be a bit more direct now, because we've got to get very few chances. So just get the ball up the field, see what happens. I know it sounds negative, but it's a Conte way, especially when he's trying to defend. It's a Conte way. In transition, it's going to be counter press, counter, slow the pace down while playing to anyone across the back line. Now these fullbacks obviously are going to be a lot more sort of deeper, closer to the centre backs. They're not going to be as risky to obviously roll the ball out, so then they're all going to be pretty much sharing the same line. So it's going to be a lot more of a sensible option, more variety, less risk. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to go with that standard line. We're also going to opt for a low block line of engagement. This we're going to still have on much more often. Now, this is up for debate. I know a lot of you guys will be like, hang on, you said lower tempo. I like having still a very high trigger press because we still have a little bit about us. We're not just going to completely sit back and do nothing. So I like having that on. We're going to prevent short goalkeeper distribution. We're going to stay on feet, and we're also going to drop off more. So it is going to be very sort of, backs against the wall, you come to us, you come to us. But we are also going to have a bit of an aggressive side with that trigger press. Now to the mobile and the console tactics. Do not go anywhere. Trust me, they're bangers. I mean, we had an absolute whale of a time with Juventus. Obviously not a very strong team on console compared to Milan, Inter Milan, obviously loads of other teams, Napoli as well, always get confused with that name. We have come out and quite comfortably won the league, beaten Milan twice, by the way, so beaten second place twice in the league. Dusan picks up 33 goals, Weah picks up 10 assists. We outscore everyone in the league, despite Milan, Inter Milan, all these incredible teams. The second best at conceding, unfortunately, the Italian Cup, Roma did get one up on us, but considering how convincing we were in the league, I am not fussed one bit at all. The data hub as well was really impressive, to be honest with you. Way under a goal conceded, which can be challenging with this Juventus team in a very tough league. Over 2.2 goals a game, a very good tackle win ratio, and a very high pass completion of 88%. But to the mobile, of course, it has got to be with Juventus, because that is literally what this video is about. We enjoyed an even more comfortable season, beating the likes of, just for starters, the table is looking a little bit strange here, because, for example, Brianza, they actually beat me twice. I will throw that out there. I don't know what goes on mobile, but it's very interesting. Lazio, Sassuolo as well. You got Genoa, you got Udinese. Milan had a bit of a drop-off season, I will say. Now, I do know when I checked into Milan, they didn't even have their Inzaghi there. He was completely gone. So, God knows what happened there, but we'll take it anyway. Going over next is going to be yeah, the Italian Cup. It didn't go the best, I'm going to show it, I'm not going to lie, but obviously winning the Serie A is the only thing, we're only in that and the Italian Cup. No Champions League, of course. Dusan picks up 26, obviously, on mobile. McKennie with the most yellow cards, needs a bit of discipline right there. Obviously, Moretti picks up 17 assists, but overall, the first season, again, on mobile, I make 0 signings as I do with PC and console. So potentially, with some signings, we could have obviously progressed in the Italian Cup. But overall, I'm absolutely buzzing with how this has gone today. Very, very good tactic. A load of fun to make on all the platforms. If you guys do enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.